So my point for today is to going over EXAM3, and if you have time, do review again from before. Good news from the exam you have right now, you are going to have 13 questions, at least 13 questions in the final exam from here, in the third exam. So if you are only looking for getting 60, you can pass with third exam, 13, and you need 2 more. Three. Can you repeat one? What did you say, Anju?
Like, how much you at least maintain on the final? Should I can pass the finals? Yeah, I'll take that. I can take that.
If you do all of my in-class exam,
Yeah.
all the questions, and the review sheet, guarantee you're gonna get A.
Yeah, I'm going over the third exam questions again, and I see my mistakes while I went over with them, especially on the last two questions. That makes sense now.
Good. The study those.
Yeah.
With those, you'll be able to get what you want.
I did what you told me to, and I want to make sure I'm on the right track. I'll tell you. 6 minutes. The whole piece is called. Yeah.
We keep the denominator. Wonderful. But most likely this will be the example of that.
Okay.
This one comes sometimes, but this one always comes.
Like this?
Instead.
Okay.
Sometimes
How do I do the line?
process.
Yeah.
You factor, solve, and then you take each one.
Yeah, I didn't need to do for this point. I couldn't.
So you do each one for this one.
Yeah.
So the simplified version is this. So once you solve for x, you substitute here and see what you are asking.
Yeah, I got that Oh, there it is.
Ian, your exam.
Yeah. These 2 questions for the exam. I think
They will be in the exam. They will be.
yeah, I did them. Here.
Question is first, one is correct. Yep, both of them are correct. Okay, you know your stuff. You just need to practice them so that during exam, you don't get confused.
Yeah, okay. Yep. And I also did logarithm. I fixed it. I thought I have to put this on.
Power.
Yeah.
Every plus goes on the top, every minus goes on the bottom.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Will you see Jannah later? She will be here. Want to be? Then, if she doesn't come in class, in case. Okay, everyone. My plan for today is to going over EXAM3. Like I said before, from this exam, you're going to have at least 13 questions in the final.
You know which ones? No?
What we're gonna going over right now.
Okay.
And for the final exam, make sure you know every question from my all 3 class exam. And then review sheet. Whatever I didn't put in my exam, study those from the review sheet. So if you study my exam and review sheet, you'll be fine. It don't tell you about anything else. And the questions I went over in last few days, everything you'll see the similar questions in the exam or in the review sheet. So whatever I have in there, I'm just refreshing your memory with our reviews.
Review sheet, the one which is on my last one.
Review sheet 1, 2, 3, exam 1, 2, 3, and exam 1, 2, 3. I also posted blank exam So if you want to test yourself how much you understood, you can work on the blank exam and then match a solution with your answer sheet.
Is the one on, I don't know, the one on my math lab, we can do that one.
Okay, final exam. Our final exam will be Tuesday. Today's Friday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 3 days. 3 days from today on Tuesday, 8 a.m. in the morning. Not in this building. It's in the 17 Lexington, the old building. 13th floor, room number 23. Okay, 13th floor, room number 23. That building is very old. The elevator service is really bad. So you should go early to get the elevator on time. And also, I am planning to give a review around 7:30. So from 7:30 to 8, we're going to do a little review before the final. And then I'll give you the exam exactly at 8. I know it's 7:30 is too early, but it's for only one day. So sleep less for one day only. 5 days?
How come for the, how come for the tutoring, you're not giving any clue?
Huh?
How come for the tutoring, like the tutor, something that we got, you know, how come you're not giving tutoring for that?
No, that's like, yeah, that's something.
Yeah, how come we're not?
What tutoring thinking?
I don't know, some tutoring on Sunday, like the.
Oh.
That, it's
That-
just.
Oh,
Yeah,
So,
that,
yeah, yeah.
I actually don't know anything about that.
oh, that, it's more like a school and that. Oh, not just this. I didn't see your name, but I don't wanna sign up. I don't wanna like, different people have different methods, so I don't want nobody to confuse me.
Then they didn't contact me, so I don't know.
Didn't see your name. but I'm like,
As long as I study my in-class exam and review sheet, it'll be fine. Okay, I can guarantee 90 points or probably 93 points with those. Probably few questions, maybe.
Final, or you're gonna see it when we see it?
But based on the previous finals, I just predicted what will be in the in our final. Yeah, we're gonna go by every question in there. Okay, so let's start. But before we start, does anybody have any question? Go ahead.
So the math lab homework is the grade based off the location or like average?
Correctness.
For the quizzes.
Let me tell you, for the quizzes, they don't choose, like you have two tries, they don't choose the best score.
They don't?
No, they don't. I got a 90 on the first one, and the second one I got an 80, and they pick the 80. It's whatever comes. So if you have the highest
They
score.
actually supposed to choose
The highest one.
the highest one.
It's weird.
Which quizzes? On the
My
yeah.
method. Okay, I have to look at that.
An option,
Yeah.
not to save the best score or the
Nah, they don't give me no option.
but
Wow.
my scores are saved at the last one.
Yeah, me
I
too.
mean,
Last one or the best one?
The best one.
I don't know the last one.
The
Last one?
Yes. I don't think I
So
got
not
like.
the best.
Wow.
But I
Also for the homework, have to final.
What do you mean final?
Like
the-
under there's like homework quizzes and then like practice.
Practice final? No. Practice final is optional. So whatever you have on my math lab till last night 12, I have your grade sheet based on that. I can tell you how much you need to have in a final exam to get what you want in this class. Okay, I'll do that after class. But it's based on whatever you have till before midnight yesterday.
How much percentage of the grade is the final?
Patty.
30? Okay.
So one good news is that few people start come to the class. So besides them, and then besides 3 more people, everybody going to pass this class if you get 50 in the final exam.
But if we got 50, does that mean that the 50%?
50 in the final.
Right.
It's a requirement to pass the class. The one requirement to pass the class.
So if
The
I-
second requirement, you have to get 60 overall. So I calculated everyone grades based on whatever I have currently. and I interested except for six people, 3 of them never showed up after first exam. Then all of you in this room, yeah, all of you, if you pass the final with 50, you are passing the class with at least a 60. Some of you have more, some of you have need to know what you want to, you want to know what you need to have in your final exam to get A or B or C, right? So I'll tell you later, but for now, if you pass the final with 50, you are passing this class with at least a D.
But so if I'm doing good now, for example, if I have an A so far, and I get a 50 on the final, I'm not gonna get an A for that.
Right, you need more. But I'm telling you that at least you're gonna pass. You don't have to be in this class any longer. Okay? If you pass the final. Bunch. See, I don't know.
Yeah.
At least C, that means 73. So I'll tell you how much you need to know, how much you need to have to get at least a 73 overall.
Do you think you can provide us with a list of all the equations that we have to remember for the final?
That will be too much for me. Go over all the in-class exams and see what equation you need to memorize for every exam and then put them together.
The minus or finalism, what is that like?
It's,
Practice. Is it something?
I would say it's 60% similar to the actual final. 60, not that high, but my exams, trust me, when you see the final, you'll see every question in my exam. So study my exam, my review sheet, you're having the final exam in front of you. Like this one, at least 13 questions will be from here. See? I counted. Okay, so first of all questions, finding composite. So we have two scenarios. Either we find the function or we evaluate the composite. I don't know which one will come, but one of them should come. So let's do the first one. It says, just find the composite function. We don't have to evaluate anything. Be very careful. What is the inner function?
It's G of X.
So you're putting G inside F. So this is our G function. Instead of this X, we are putting the entire G function. Okay. So inside function goes in the outside function. So F of G of X, it means we are doing F of 2x squared minus 3. So instead of 6x minus 1, we have, let me change the color, 2x squared minus 3. So our composition is done. Now just to simplify. So 12x squared minus 18 minus 1. And that's it. 12x squared minus 19. In the exam, a couple of you set it equals 0, solve for x. As a result, I took up 1 point. They didn't ask you to solve for anything. They are simply asking you, give them the composite function. Tony, your exam. Yeah. I mean, it's 3 point, but it's out of 80. Because of 80, it got rounded up. So our exam was actually 83 out of 80. So whatever you have, it's out of 80. And then in 100% scale, I rounded up.
Where would the extra point go?
Is it exam?
I think you have nowhere to go, right? Because you have everything 100.
No, the first one I got.
Then it will go there.
If I get an extra point, do I get extra point five?
Final is out of 100. But actually, we do have extra points. 5 points extra, it doesn't count. I mean, even if you get 105, done him.
You should put them on the first few quizzes that you did for attendance.
The in-class one I can, but the final I cannot.
No, not the final. I mean the quizzes that you did for attendance. The 5-minute quiz.
Oh yeah, you want me to give them there?
Yeah. But I got like 1 out of 2 points for that.
Okay. Okay, so composite, one of them. You'll see. The next one, either you do the exact same thing and substitute x with 1, or just simply find the inner function. What is f of 1? Oops. What is f of 1? And put that inside the g function. So f of x turning into f of 1. We are going to substitute every x with 1. So this is 1 cube and this is 1. Plus 1 minus 1 cancel out, and 1 cube is 1. So they want us to find g of f of 1. It means g of 1. Because our f of 1 we found is 1. So we are going to substitute that here inside the g function. So it's square root of 11 x plus 5 instead of x, it's 1. 11 times 1. And then a couple of you did weird thing. 11 times 5 is supposed to give you 16. You told me you have 15. As a result, you lost few points. Any question? Okay. These are fun questions. They are not important. So let me skip them for now and go to the important one. Next one, exponential. Graph the exponential function with the transformation. So before graphing, we gonna state what each transformation is about. Negative means it's a reflection about x-axis. Anytime you have a number next to the x, it doesn't matter which type of function you have, any number next to the x, it means left-right transformation. And left-right transformation always go other direction. So minus 3 is supposed to go left 3, but it doesn't. It goes right 3. And remember, when you're single, sometimes we feel up, sometimes we feel down. So a single number always tells you either up or down. Minus means down, so we go down 2. Exponential function has horizontal asymptotes. Horizontal asymptote means a horizontal line. Every horizontal line has an equation y equals a number. So we get our horizontal asymptote. Actually, let me do it here. We get our horizontal asymptote from the up-down transformation.
That's for exponential.
Exponential has horizontal asymptote. Horizontal means y equals number. In here, y is a single number. And the number we have next to the x, it's for the x. So when you draw right and down, always try drawing the original one because it helps to figure out your transformation. So this is the original one without any transformation to the x. Now, first thing we always do is reflection. Always reflection first comes. So this plus 1 turns into a minus 1 for the reflection. When you reflect, this up becomes down. Now this reflection, you are moving 3 right, 2 down. So 1 right, 2 right, 3 right, 1 down, 2 down. And we have a horizontal asymptote at -2. So this is the asymptote, -2. It means this is the wall that we cannot cross for the graph. So the same graph, when you reflect, it goes this way. And this reflection we are drawing here. So all you have to do is go through this point here and then keep going left, keep going down. So this is the reflection. Negative 4 to the x minus 3 minus 2. So in the final exam, either you have to draw the graph, or they will tell you the graph, you're going to identify the equation, or they'll give you a bunch of graphs, you're going to identify the graphs. Something will be graph, okay? And graph will be either from the exponential or from the log, or could be both. The next one is log. It's very similar to what we did. Log and exponential, they're inverse of one another. Cassandra. So since log has x-intercept, y-intercept 1, log has x-intercept 1. Since exponential has horizontal asymptote, log has vertical asymptote. They're inverse of one another. So again, this is reflection about x-axis. Plus 2 next to the x. We're supposed to go right, but we don't. We go left 2. Single number, we are filling down. So it's down 3. No. Reflection for the y-axis, you have to have a negative sign in front of x.
The log parentheses negative x plus 2, that would be reflection on the y-axis. We're not gonna get that.
And vertical asymptote. Vertical asymptote means it's a vertical line. So we get it from x equals. Every vertical line has the equation x equals some number. So we take our argument and vertical asymptote. We set it equals 0. We solve for x. Remember, asymptote is not a point. It's a line. And every line has an equation. So you must write down either x equals a number or y equals a number. So we are going left and down. So we have 0, -1, -2. Our wall is -2, so we cannot cross this wall. Original log graph has this shape. It goes to the x value 1. When you reflect that, this top portion goes on the bottom here, and the bottom portion goes on the top. So this is negative log x. The black one is the original log x, log of x. The base doesn't matter. The black one is the original one. When you reflect about x-axis, the top here, it goes below the x-axis, and the below portion goes above the x-axis. And that reflection, we are moving 1 left, 2 left, 1 down, 2 down, 3 down here. So same graph, going, the left is going up, the right is lying down and going right. So negative log x plus 2 minus 3. Question? Or as long as you show me your walk, you're fine. Since we're doing this, let's go do this question. The right one. We have a graph that has this shape, and it's going to the y value -1, 0. What could be an equation for this graph? First of all, is it an exponential graph or log?
It's log.
It's log. So we have log choices. The original log goes to the x value 1. Now, how you are shifting the original graph to the transformation 1?
You go left 2,
Left 2. So left 2, how do you indicate that?
plus 2, x plus 2.
Plus 2 with the x. So It's ln x plus 2. The solution I posted, I had this question wrong. I have to fix it. Okay? So I said it's D, but E, but it's not E, it's D. This is D.
Left answer is D.
D. Not
I
E.
chose E.
What?
Yeah, E is wrong because minus 2 supposed to go left, but it doesn't go right. Okay, so the next graph is going to the y value 1. What type of graph is this? Log or exponential? Exponential. So let's draw the original exponential. The original exponential goes to the y value 1. So what's the difference between the original one and the transformed one? Really? This is the original one. The original one going
Down.
how many units?
2.
2. So 1, 2, 2 units down. So it's a minus 2 single. So exponential graph going 2 units down. My bad. It's red. Exponential graph going 2 units down. So it's C. So be very careful. Your left, right, and up, down movement. Left, right goes next to the X. Up, down is a single one. If you forget, remember my story. When you're single, we feel up, we feel down. So single one is always up, down. Okay. Now expansion and singling out. So one of them. Okay. Probably both or could be one. You'll see. So when you expand, be very careful about your radical. They love to give you radical. So think, is the radical only, does the radical only belong to one variable or it belongs to both variables? Both. That means we have to have, as long as they are under the same radical, they share the same radical. So we have on the top x cubed square root and y square root. Here's the example. Square root of y. So we are going to rewrite them. 3 power and 1 power. Using exponent rule, if you have a whole number, it goes on the top. If you don't have a whole number, 1 goes on the top. And the radical becomes denominator. Here we have square root, so our denominator is square means 2. If you have cube root, our denominator will be 3. So depending on what type of radical we have, denominator gets that number. And if you have a power, it goes on the top. If you don't, 1 goes on the top. So in other words, we have log x 3/2, y 1/2. We have 3z squared w. So we have 3 things. That means we are going to need, so you have to need 5 things. So you're going to need 5 log. Log of x to the 3/2. Everything on the top gets plus sign. Log y of 1/2. Everything on the bottom, not only fasting, everything on the bottom gets minus. So negative log 3, negative log z squared, and negative log w. But we're not done because log each power. So every power you see, this is supposed to come down as a coefficient. So I'm going to erase this because I don't have space. And I'm going to write this down as coefficient. 3/2 log x, 1/2 log y. T doesn't have any power, we'll leave it alone. The next one is 2, and w also doesn't have anything. One thing I noticed in many of your paper is that you wrote this as 3 log. Just because it's a number. Come on, it doesn't make sense. 3 is not a power. 3 is argument. Argument has, every log has to have some argument. Argument, if you don't have argument, log doesn't exist, okay? It doesn't make sense. So you cannot make 3 as a coefficient. If 3 had a power, then you could bring that power as a coefficient. But only 3 is just an argument. Go ahead, Stephanie. No. Log alone never exists. Log is a machine. You have to give him something to work with. Always. The next one is the reverse version of 40. Just every coefficients become power, and then you put them together based on their sign. So 5 goes as a power, 2 goes power, 4 goes power, 1/3 goes as a power. So every coefficients become power. So we have a big log, something on the top, something on the bottom. Now the first term doesn't have any sign, it means it's a plus sign. So we have x to the 5 on the top. The second one, the y squared, has a negative in the front, so it's supposed to go on the bottom. The third one, we have z to the 4. Z to the 4 is a negative sign in the front. It's supposed to go on the bottom. The last term, 1/3, is a plus sign. So 1/3 becomes the power for the w on the top. Either you can leave it alone, or if you want, you can add cube root of w. It's same thing. Okay? So one of them, you're gonna see. So if you don't understand, make sure you understand it before Tuesday. And remember the rules. Any questions so far? If you don't put a parentheses, it looks weird. For example, if you don't wear clothes, won't you look weird? Same thing. It's like a cloth for long. It's a stupid and I love that. That's how stupid it looks like. Circle. Circle also has a very high probability.
Will they ask this to graph it? No, right?
No. So from circle, 2 questions comes. Do the circle and find the tangent line. Go ahead.
Put the x on one side and x squared plus 2x,
And
and then on the other side is y.
Plus.
So yeah, y squared minus 8y, and then we're gonna equal it to positive 32.
So we add the 32, so it becomes positive
And then
32.
we're gonna divide it all by. You're gonna get x plus 1 squared.
So divide by 2 gives us plus 1.
X y minus 4 squared.
Divide by 2 gives us minus 4.
And then this side we also have 2 on the other side, so it's plus 1 squared, and then plus negative 4 squared. And then that, the part is gonna equal to 49.
32 plus 1 plus 16 is 49. X plus 1 square, y minus 4 square equals 49. That's the format they're looking for. This is the standard form of the circle. So if they're asking for this, you need to write this out. And then we find center. How do you find center? Right. So if you forget, just solve for it. X plus 1, 0, y minus 4, 0. If you can remember changing the sign, you don't have to do that. It's for those who forget to change the sign. And I noticed many of you actually forgot to change the sign in the exam. So your center is, and our radius is square root of 49. That gives us 7. not plus minus 7. You can never have a negative radius. It doesn't make sense. It's always plus 7.
Which later for years, guys.
And circle is a real life scenario. So having a negative circumference, a negative diameter, or negative radius looks weird. Sounds weird. Doesn't even look anything. Inverse. You'll see this again. Go ahead, Dua. What do you do for inverse?
Instead of x, I put y.
So y minus 5x over 9.
Oh no,
Is it 8? Okay.
but becomes an equal I just multiply this on both sides.
But switch them first.
Oh yeah,
Our goal is to solve for y by after switching them. So x becomes y, y becomes x. 9 minus 5 over 8. And now solve for y.
And 9 minus 9 on both sides.
8x minus 9 is another mistake. People forget to put their sign. So it's negative 5y, not positive 5y.
Can't by that.
You can, but you don't have to. If you see this already, then you are done. But let's say you don't see it. If you don't see it in the multiple choice, let's say it came in the multiple choice and you don't see this answer. That means you're going to modify this answer. How are you going to modify? You can put the minus on the top. So minus 8x minus 9 over 5. If you still don't see this in the exam, distribute. So minus 8x plus 9 over 5. If you still don't see this in the multiple choice, then it's 9 minus 8x over 5. So definitely one of these you're going to see. We can. But
I
it looks
got
like
the-
it's weird.
But it will be correct, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
All 4 of them are right. It depends on the multiple choice. Which one you see in the multiple choice.
I got
So
the,
for previous ones, you like is easy. Anything is fine. What did you?
I got negative 8x plus 9 over 5.
If you put negative, you have to put the negative here. If you don't put the parentheses. Okay. So if it's previous ones, you can stop on the red one. But if it's multiple choice, make sure you see your answer. If you don't see it, keep modifying your answer until you see what you have in the multiple choice. Population. There will be one population question. Probably to be in the non-calculator portion or in the calculator portion or both. Okay. So we have P of T is 3 times 5 to the T power. Go ahead, Dua. What do you do? Not only P, the whole thing. Our goal is to bring the T down from the top, from the power. But in order to do that, first we cannot have anything next to our base. So we get rid of the base by dividing both sides by the coefficient. Not base, so you divide both sides by coefficient. So we have 5 to the T. But let's say you don't know. So you need to do it manually because this is in the non-calculator portion. So 3 goes to 3 once. You subtract, you have nothing left. You bring down your 7. 3 goes to 7 how many times? Twice. 3 times 2 is 6. You subtract. We get 1. Then we bring down our next number 5. 3 goes to 5. 3 goes to 15. 5. And you have nothing left. That's how we divide manually. So if it's a non-calculator portion, you have to do it manually. And then a few of you use ln, but applying ln here doesn't make sense. In order to work with ln, you need to have a calculator, right? So if you don't have a calculator, don't think about ln. Think about how can we rewrite this expression so that we can solve without using ln. The hint is the base. Can we rewrite 125 in terms of the base 5? No? Or yes? Yes. So 5 to the what power gives us 125? 3. So this is one of the scenario among many scenarios of solving exponential equation. If two bases are different, we want to see, can we convert the bigger base using the smaller base? If we cannot, then we apply ln, and it will be in the calculator portion. But since it's not in the calculator, that means there are some trick here. You just have to remember. We look for same base so that we can cancel them. And we have our answer directly without doing anything hard. Okay. Another circle question. Find the tangent line of the circle. So let me refresh your memory with the scenario. We have a circle that doesn't look like circle. Let me draw a cheating method. Okay, so we have a circle that has a center 0, 0. And we have another point, -3, -4. -3, -4. Let's say it's -3, -4. Now they want us to find the equation of the tangent line. Tangent line is a line that goes through the circle only once. So this is the tangent line. They want us to know what's the equation of the tangent line. So the trick here is that we know tangent line and radius, they're perpendicular to one another. So we draw a radius and we want to see what is the slope of the radius. We can find slope of the radius because the radius is 2 points. And when you have 2 points, you can easily find the slope that goes to the 2 points. Once we find the slope of the 2 points, we take its reverse, and that will be the slope of the tangent line. So that's the scenario. That's the story behind what we are doing. So first step, find the slope of the radius. So what do we use? And let's say this is x1, y1. Because we need to use that in the tangent line also. And let's say this is x2, y2. The order doesn't matter, okay? Either one could be anything. So now what do we have? y2 minus y1 means -4 minus 0, -3 minus 0. -4 over -3. We have to cancel that. So until you cancel your negative, don't do anything. People try to use the negative and think that our reciprocal is a positive 1. No. When you double negative, it turns into a positive 4 over 3. If you have a negative divided by a negative, what happens to the negative? Cancel out. So see, this one has a positive slope. It makes sense. Our radius is going up, so it should have a positive slope. So if you think it's a negative slope, your first thing you're doing is the wrong thing. So the rest will be wrong anyway. So be very careful. Since we know the slope of the radius, that means now we know slope of the tangent line. What is the slope of the tangent line? Negative, and then 3 over 4. So change the sign, flip the fraction. And finally, we find the equation of the tangent line. Let's do it on the right page. So we have y minus y1 slope x minus x1. Our y1 is -4, so we get double negative here. Slope is -3/4. And again, our x1 is also a negative number. So we have double negative. So double negative, they both turn into positive. We have y plus 4, and we can distribute that. We get -3/4 x. Negative and positive turns into negative. 3/4 of 3, which gives us 9/4. Or do you want to see? It's 3/4 of 3. So we multiply the top only, it becomes 9. So subtract 4, we get y equals -3/4 of x minus 9/4 minus. Same sign means we keep the sign and we add the numbers. So in other words, we are adding 9/4 plus 16/4. So 16 and 9 gives us 25/4. So from here we get -25/4, and we have y equals -b/4 of x. Bunch of fun. Today is our last class. You're not going to see me again as a lecturer. Okay, any question on this? Remember, all of these you're going to see just after 3 days. These questions are fun, so let me skip them. We are going to come back later. If you have time, we did this log equation. You will see log equation again. It doesn't matter what is your base. Anytime you have more than one log, you're gonna combine them into one. Tony, enough on. Let me tell you a story. So in my morning class, there was one student, she got 100 in our second exam. Okay. So she had around, I don't remember, but around 70 or 80 in the first exam, and she was serious. So she studied very hard and got 100 in the second exam. She got overconfident. As a result, she failed the third exam. Okay. So just because you have a good score in one exam, it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to do good in the next one. Same thing, just because you have a good score in exam 1, 2, or 3, it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to pass the final exam with a good score. I have seen the opposite many times. Good students fail the final. Trust me. Why? Because they're overconfident. So Janelle, be very careful. Don't be overconfident. Stephanie, don't be overconfident.
Because I feel confident that was G30 and ace it at the 100.
See, overconfident kills us. So just because you're a good student or you understand the math, it doesn't mean you're going to pass this class. Especially in summer, almost 98% of my students in the summer are good students, but they failed the final. And the rule in Baruch is that if you fail the final, even if you have hundreds in all the in-class exam, all the homework, all the quizzes, it doesn't matter, you fail the class. Okay? I'm warning you because I have seen many cases. So that's why don't be overconfident just because you have a good score in all exam or on the third exam. It doesn't guarantee you anything.
What's the breakout point?
So in order to pass the final, it's 50, and pass the class, it's 60. But you cannot take pre-calculus if you don't have 73. So in other words, you need 73 if you want to take pre-calculus. Okay. So log, 2 logs or 3 logs, doesn't matter. If you have more than 1 log, combine them. So we have log base 2, x plus 7, x plus 5 equals 3. And then the common mistake I noticed in your exam is that you know that we are going to cancel the log. So you wrote this, x plus 5, x plus 7 equals 3. Is this correct?
No.
What happened to the base? Exactly. You cannot eat anything in the math. Math is fair, okay? If you eat, you have to vomit. So you have to put the 2 here. You are not canceling the log, you are just rearranging the log into a different format. So you're gonna use everything here except the log. So 2 gets 3 as a power, and then the arguments become one side. That's why many of you thought this question was, you got the score because with this it's factorable, even with the 3 it's factorable, 8 or 3, something like that, but it was wrong. So we get x squared plus 12x plus 35. And from here we get 8. So we subtract 8 from both sides. We get 0 on the other side. Combining them, we get 27. So we have x squared plus 12x plus 27 equals 0. A few of you got x squared minus 12x plus 27, which was wrong. How do you get minus? I have no idea. So don't create anything, okay? Whatever you have, be observant, be careful. It's hard, but still try to be careful. So you factor them. 1, 2 factors, product is 27, addition is 12. 9 and 3. And both of them are positive. So we have x plus 90 gives us -9. X plus 30 gives us -3. And then I see in 3 scenarios. Some people said, oh, this is the answer. And they stopped everything. They got 0. What some people said, is oh, both of them are negative, so no solution. You got 0. Okay? Just because they have a negative answer automatically doesn't mean it doesn't exist, it's just no solution. Anytime you have a solution, you have to go back in the original one and see if any one of the solution makes the argument negative or 0. Log of 0 doesn't exist. Log of negative number doesn't exist. Yeah, and on the top it says there is no partial credit. Oh, that's right. And that's why I think it's partial credit, because I knew many people would say these are the answer or no solution. I knew that. So to punish you guys, I said no partial credit. Yeah. You must check your work or check the solution. We have log 2x plus 7, log 2x plus 5. And we have normal log. So we are only checking these two. Here and here. When x is -3, we have -3 plus 7, which is 4. Positive number, no problem. When x is 3, it's -3 plus 5 is 2. It's positive number, no problem. So we definitely accept -3 as our answer. But when you do x is -9, we have -9 plus 7, that gives us -2. We don't even have to check the other one. When you have a negative answer in the first one, it's automatically not acceptable. Okay? Either one of them is invalid, makes everything invalid. So the only solution, dua, is -3. Not both. Make sure to remember them till final exam. So they actually trick you. Many times they give you answer where one of them work, The other one doesn't work. So check, always check. Now the exponential has many scenarios. This is only one scenario. So one scenario where we have the same base. Let me refresh your memory with that, okay? Before we do this one. So type 1. We have same base. 2 to the x is 2 to the 5. Same base, cancel them. The power is the answer. Then we have this scenario, the left one. 2 different base, but we can rewrite the bigger one using the smaller one. So we are going to rewrite this. 81 is 9 to the what? 2.
I have a question. Can we do this as
Mm-hmm.
our
You can rewrite everything. You get the same answer. But first thing, always look, can you rewrite bigger one in the smaller one? If you cannot, then we rewrite both. It will make life easier. So same, cancel them. Whatever remains, we multiply them. So 2x minus 8 is 3x plus 5. 2x is smaller, so get rid of that. But initially, it doesn't matter which one you get rid of. So we have negative 8 is x plus 5. So we get rid of the 5 now. That tells us our x is negative 13. So this is type 2. Now we have another type. For example, 4 to the x plus 1 is 8 to the x minus 2. 2x minus 2. Okay. Can we rewrite 8 using 4 to the some power? No. That means we need to rewrite both of them. So what number we can use as the same base to rewrite both 4 and 8? 2. So it's 2 square and 8 is 2 cube. So 2 square x plus 1. Let's say this is 1. And we have 2 cube, 2x minus 1. Now we have the same base, so we cancel them. The rest we multiply. 2 powers multiply, 2 powers multiply. So 2x plus 2 gives us 6x minus 3. And then we solve for x. Okay, so let me stop here because you know how to solve for x. We just did the other one. Follow the same rule, solve for x. So these are the 3 types. Either we have same base, like this would be. If they don't, then 2 scenario. Either we can rewrite the bigger one into the smaller one, or we cannot write them. So we rewrite both of them using a smaller common base. Since we are doing this, let's also do this type. We have 2 base, but they're completely unrelated. Okay, so completely different. We cannot use the smaller one to rewrite the bigger one. In that case, since we are hopeless, so we go and ask the help to the log. We say, hey log, please lend me your what is called? Letter and help me to bring down the power. You can apply log or ln, it doesn't matter. But personally, I would suggest you apply ln to both sides. Why? Because when our base is e, we actually have to apply ln. So now log works as a letter. So power comes down as a coefficient. So we have x minus 4, and then ln 5 equals ln 396. Between our power and ln, we have invisible multiplication sign. So to get rid of ln of 5, we're going to divide both sides. So x minus 4 gives us ln of 396 over ln of 5. Then we get rid of 4 by adding. So whatever we have here, that's the answer. What's the answer here? 7.72, something like that, right? I checked almost 70 exam paper, so I kind of memorized all the answer. My brain actually kind of memorized everything. Question so far. We have another type. It's not here, so let me bring it here. Let's say we have e to the 3x plus 1 equals no, minus 1 equals 5. Okay, so this is a type where we have an exponential, but we don't have two base, we have 3. When we have 3, our goal is to do what? We have 3, but all these examples have only 2 bases, right? One is on the left, one is on the right. Okay. But now we have 2 things on the left, 1 thing on the right. So what is our first step?
That's why they make the one with the power.
We want this to be alone if you want to apply ln. So we need to get rid of the constant. So e to the 3x gives us 6. And now we are happy. We have only 2 sides, one side on each side of the equal sign. And our exponential is alone. So we apply ln to both sides. Applying ln means you're not multiplying by ln. It means you're putting whatever we have inside the ln machine. So we have a parenthesis, that parenthesis is the inside. We are putting inside the machine whatever we have. So e and ln, anytime they're next to one another, it doesn't matter whether they are on the power, on the base, or any scenario. As long as they have nothing between them, they cancel out. So we get 3x equals ln of 6. The last step to get the ln is? Divide by 3. So this is the 5th scenario. We did 3 scenarios where we can work with the bases by rewriting. There are 2 scenarios where we cannot rewrite, so we need to use calculator for and apply ln.
With this, with that, final.
Both, one of them. I don't know which one. 2 choices.
And that's our final. You don't put that.
Yes, you put it in the calculator and see what do you have.
Do you want surround some years?
They will tell you. But in this case, round to 3 places.
3 places?
Nothing would leave like 3,000.
1,000 means 3, 100 means 2. So if they tell you to round to the nearest 100,
I mean, no, they will not write 1,000.
it's up to you. Either 2 places or 3 places. That's fine. If they don't mention what place, it's solely based on you. Whatever you want to do. Now, ln, we did 1 log questions where we had many logs, 2 logs, so we combined them. Now, another log question is they give you 1 log. You just have to go to the next step. So specifically for ln, we have the base e. So either you apply the base e on both sides, or you imagine that we have invisible e here, so you convert them into exponential. E to the 6 equals 8s. Okay, so it's up to you. How do you want to imagine that? What I noticed in your exam is that you thought I always multiplied by e. No. We never multiply in the log case or exponential case. We only apply them. So in here, e to the power 6, not e times 6. So if you get confused about power or multiplication, think about this method. ln has invisible e base, so rewrite into exponential. Just like log, While log doesn't have any base. What's the base for log? 10. Same thing, ln doesn't have any base, but actually it does. The indivisible e. So e and ln next to one another, we left with 8x is e to the 6. We don't want the 8, so we divide by 8. And it will give you 50 point something. 43? 42? 43. So these were actually easy questions. But many of you got it wrong. Okay, so now we are going back to the what problem again? Another population question. So for population question, it's almost same. Whatever is given, we set that equals to the right side. So we have 40,000 given for the population. So we set 40,000 equals 25,000 e to the 0.08 t. Same rule apply. We cannot apply ln until our e is alone. So we divide by 25,000. In here, 0, 0, 0 cancel out. You don't have to simplify, but if you want, we know both of these are divisible by 8, so 5. So we have 5 and 8. Again, you don't have to do it because you're going to use calculator anyway. So we have 8 over 5 equals e to the 0.08 t. And now we have the same problem. There is no way we can bring the power down. So we ask ln to come and help us. So we apply ln to both sides. E and ln fight and die. We have ln of 8 over 5 equals 0.08 t. See? The that's why. So whatever we have here, that's our answer. And if I'm not wrong, it's 5.88, right? 5.88?
So you have any questions on this particular thing? You have to remember the formula for
No.
Oh, no, no, it's not. Okay.
They didn't have to memorize the formula. This is actually exponential growth.
There's like a different formula for it. It's like
1 plus something weird.
Yeah.
As far as I know, you don't have to memorize that because we can use the part formula or the money formula, compounding formula. But you must memorize the part continuous compound and not continuous compound. Two types of formula, you must remember them. Not continuous. Semi-annually, annually, semi-annually, quarterly. For some reason, they like quarterly most. So you may say quarterly. 4. How many quarters we have? 4. So if you forget about quarterly, remember about your money quarter.
1 quarter 4.
Distance. Memorize the distance formula. Distance is, we have 2 axes, right? X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So what's the formula?
X2.
Square.
Parentheses y2 minus y1 parentheses.
So remember, we have squares and plus to guarantee that the number we are going to get is a positive number because we cannot take a square root of a negative number. So when we have squares, it guarantees to have a positive. When we add to positive, we get positive number. So x2 is 2 minus 1 square. We add Our y2 is -4. We subtract 3 square. So we get 1 square plus -7 square. 1 plus 49. And then people forget to put the square root. What happened to the square root if you forget? And simplify the radical means don't use the calculator. So 50 is 25 times 2. So square root of 50 means square root of 25 and square root of 2. And square root of 2, you have no idea. So sometimes it comes in the non-calculator portion. So you have to simplify the radical. And if it's in the calculator, just use the calculator. Questions so far? Okay. You'll see this again. Log of any base of any argument. I specifically want you to use the change of base formula so that I can see you know what you're doing. So change of base says, do this. Take the log of the argument, divide that by log of the base. You can use log or you can use ln, it doesn't matter. So it's log of the 164 divided by log of the 7. Or if you want, you can write ln of 164 over ln of 7. You'll get the same answer applying both of them. However, if you're working with only log, a single number, then it's not true. For example, log 7 and ln of 7, they are not same. Okay? But when you have twice, then they become same. So you go to the calculator and then you punch log 164 and log 7, and this will give you what? 2.60621, right? 2.621. If you didn't follow about rounding up, I didn't punish you this time. But in the final exam, what they ask you is this. What number do you have in the 1000th place? So if you don't round, you get 0. The whole thing becomes 0. All the work you did for nothing. So make sure you know how to round correctly. Because they're not going to tell you round this. They're going to ask you, if you round to this place, what's the number you have on that place? So be careful. Now comes money problem. For money problem, we have 4 scenarios. So actually 5 scenarios. Scenario number 1, we have a money that is compounded continuously. If you compound continuously, there is only one equation. A equals part PE RT. But if you're not compounding continuously, for example here, compounded quarterly, then 1 plus R over N NT. So 2 main scenario, but that scenario has 4 types of problem because we have 4 types of variable to solve. We will never solve for n because they'll always tell you the n. But except for n, depending on what scenario they give you and what variable they want you to solve for, you just have to substitute everything and solve for that. If they ask you to solve for t, you're going to need ln.
They ask you to solve for R and D.
No, only for t you need ln, and for anything else you don't need ln. You just substitute, addition, division, multiplication, those things. Okay, but only anything you are solving from the power, you need ln. In here, they want us to find the money we get after investing this for 3 years. So what they're asking for? Which variable?
Hey,
A. So this is the easiest one. We have all the information we substitute. Our initial is 2796. They are telling us 5.4%, but we never apply percent. We apply decimal, 0.054. I notice if you apply the percentage and you got 0. Because if you don't round up, don't convert to decimal, you get totally different answer. So it's 0.054. Compounding quarterly. How many quarter? 4. And we are doing it for 3 years. So you go to the calculator, you punch everything, but still using calculator, people got it wrong. Because when they applied, they didn't put enough parentheses. So if your calculator doesn't have a fraction format, you need to put a parenthesis here. You need to put a parenthesis here. You need to put a parenthesis there. Or simply like 12. 12 will make your life easier. If you do 12, you don't need parentheses. So see how many parentheses you need? Because calculator can't read. Scientific calculator is like full, okay? If you don't tell them exactly what they need, they don't understand you. And I believe the answer is 34 something, right?
Yeah.
3484?
84.
3284.
0.14.
114. Now in part, they're asking for find the number of years, something on the power. If they're asking for something on the power, you definitely need to apply log. So we know eventually you're gonna apply log, so let's substitute everything here. We invested $3,600. Interest rate 7%, so e to the 0.07. The amount, find the number of years it will take to become our money 5,500. So we invested 3,600 and we want it to become 5,500. What I noticed is that some people switch the position. Even if you didn't understand anything about this, think about real life. Are you willing to lose money? How can you have a final amount 36,000 if you invest 5,500? Then what's the point of investing, right? When you invest, we want to gain money, not lose money. So final amount always supposed to be bigger than the initial amount. Unless you're doing some business where you're going to lose money. For example, what's this called? Gambling is not a business, right? Something with the, I forgot this called. Like every day it goes up or down.
Stocks.
Stock. If you invest in stock business, you may have lower money than your initial money. But they didn't tell you about the stock business or anything. They're just saying you're investing. So you're looking for positive outcome. Okay, so we want to make this ln because we want to apply ln. So divide by 3,600. This cancel out. We have 55 over 36 e to the 0.070. Now we can apply ln. So they cancel out. And we have ln of 55 over 36, 0.070. Last step is 0.07. So this is 36. Let me write again. 36, this is 55. We go to the calculator. So if you do calculator, you need 1 parenthesis here divided by the denominator. If your calculator doesn't have a fraction format. And what's the answer here? How much? 6 point. No, I didn't hear. I only heard 0.5. What's the first number? I didn't hear that. And with this, I think I covered everything. So remember, 13 questions, almost 13 questions.
Wait, but
You'll see.
oh, yeah. The graph. Only because
Okay, let's do 5 questions.
But only because you never gave that in the final. I mean, not the final, was it?
In class.
Or like any class, I felt that.
So these are kind of fun questions. The first one is saying our G is inside F, and we have e to the 4 times x to the 5. So you have many choices. One of the choices, let's make this the inner function. If this is the inner function, 4x to the 5, then e to the x becomes your outer function. This is one choice. But if you want x to the 5 to be inner function, then your outer function will be e to the 4x. This is another choice.
So that first one was another option? Okay.
So decomposition is based on how you look at the composition. It doesn't have one correct answer, it has many correct answers. Now B also has few choices. If you think log is the outer function, then you have log x. That means everything inside here becomes the inner function. This is one choice. However, you have another choice. Log square root of x minus 3. If you think your g is x minus 3, then your outer function becomes log square root of x. See? If you have at least one of these, I give you correct.
For the line goes this way. So that would make it a 1-to-1 function.
It was a logic question, a tricky logic question. In order to be a 1-to-1 function, first you have to be a function, right? For example, in order to be normal mother, okay? If you want to be a normal mother, first you have to be a female, right? If you're not a female, how can you be a mother? I'm not talking about current world, okay? The normal world. If you're not a female, how can you be a mother, right? Same thing. If you're not even a function, how can you be one-to-one function?
That's not fair though, like, why?
I gave 3 extra points in this exam, okay? So this one doesn't count.
Like, no, that's what I could have gotten.
Is that gonna
No.
be a Bible?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Wow.
I said 1-to-1 function.
Wait,
One-to-one function.
this way, this.
If you go to the lecture, or I go to the lecture problem. So during lecture, I actually specifically said, in order to be one-to-one function, first you have to be a function. And since I said that, this question came in my mind.
That either X or Y can be. That's what I remember. That either X or Y.
Exactly. So when y cannot be repeated, it becomes a function. When x also cannot be repeated, it becomes a one-to-one function. So see, none of them can be repeated. But in here, see, for one x with 2 y's, is that a function automatically?
That's not fair, so that's
That's why I gave you an extra credit. Yeah, I gave you an extra credit. Okay?
For the final, is there gonna be a non-captive for the Oh, so there's the
So in the final exam, the first 90 minutes is non-calculator with 22 questions. And in the second part, at 9:30 to 4, 8 questions, calculator.
also
So 30 minutes, 8 questions calculator. That means there will be other ones.
so it's 20.
22, 90 minutes, and 8 half an hour. Now, if you want to know how much you need to know, how much you need to have in the final exam, you can come and see me. Otherwise, thank you everyone for a wonderful semester. I enjoyed this class very much. And thank you for subscription.
Oh, well.
I have one question.